Hi everyone, welcome to October Supervision. I am here with Caitlin, who is our new interviewer management team member.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm excited to work with y'all.
So we are going to start with the updates for this month. So our first item here is saying goodbye to two of our interviewers. Mara Ritz, who is one of our newer interviewers, and Nicole Allen have both decided to leave the project. So we thank them both so much for their contribution and all of their effort they put in the project, and we wish them good luck with their future endeavors.
Next, when it comes to the IRS, SharePoint has been occasionally forgetting to send an email after completing the interview with the IRF link. It's a problem that we're working on resolving. If you don't receive the email, then you can always get to the IRF by going to fjreact.com, and that link is included in the supervision. Additionally, you can use the link sent to you from a different interview to access the same site.
So we're very excited that we have a pre-deployment briefing scheduled that this one hopefully goes through with. So it's scheduled for November 14th and it's going to be down at Camp Atterbury. We have 157 members scheduled to deploy in this group. So we'll be inviting interviewers who live nearby as needed.
When it comes to the consent and assent forms, due to the changes in the Family Journeys 2, both the service member and the significant other will need to fill out new consent forms. They've already begun to go out in boxes, so please remember to have everyone fill out the new forms. In addition, the assent forms have changed, but those who have already signed an assent form do not need to fill out a new one. That being said, these forms will be used when interviewing the upcoming pre-D families.
So we've changed the compensation for our daily diary, and this also extends to include the phone diary that is part of Family Journeys 2. So to encourage more involvement, we've decided that instead of the significant other receiving $30 for doing the daily diary during the deployment phase, that they will now receive $10 for each submission, and they have the option to do a total of 7 submissions. So that participant can now get $70 total for completing the daily diary. We've also structured the phone diary that same way. So as I said, this is part of Family Journeys 2 and will take place during the reintegration phase after R1 and R2. And both the service member and significant other will take part in this. And they will each receive $10 for completing each phone survey, and they'll have 4 phone surveys. So each participant can receive $40 total for this. The phone diaries have not begun to be implemented yet, so when the participants are reading through the new consent forms, make sure to let them know that that has not yet started, but we will let them know when they have the opportunity to do this.
There are a couple updates when it comes to exchange. When it comes to accepting interviews, please remember that interview invitations can only be accepted from your Purdue Exchange account. If you accept an interview from a different account, then we do not receive your response. So the desk may assume that you didn't respond and invite another interviewer to take your place. So just be sure to respond on my Purdue or on the Purdue Exchange.
So we're creating a new system for letting you know about canceled interviews. So you'll now be alerted of the interview cancellations through your Exchange account. If the interview is canceled, you will receive an email from the Family Journeys account, and the subject will say canceled and then omit and whatever the interview family number and phase is. So in the body of the email, it'll tell you that the interview has been canceled, and it'll give you a reason if there is one, such as interviewer is canceled or service member needed to reschedule or something like that. So the interview, though, will not be automatically removed from your calendar. It'll have a title signifying canceled, but it will still be on your calendar. So if you would like to remove it, if you click on the event and then you click on delete in the taskbar, it will remove this from your calendar to remove confusion. So this will now be the only way that you will find out that an interview has been canceled. We'll no longer be making phone calls or sending additional emails unless it is within the 24 hours prior to when the interview is scheduled to take place. So this new policy change reflects the importance of checking your email daily.
When it comes to declining or not responding to an interview, if we don't receive a response within 24 hours, then if you decline the interview, then you'll be removed from the calendar. This will eliminate the email updates regarding the interview that you are not attending. Once we've removed you as an interviewer, you will receive an email from Family Journeys saying canceled, and then the interview number. There will be no message. If you think this cancellation is an error, please contact us as soon as possible. As stated above, the interview will not be removed from your calendar. It will have a title signifying that it was canceled. However, in order to remove it from your calendar, as we said earlier, you must click on the event and then click delete in the taskbar.
So the big way to tell the difference between these canceled interviews versus the declined or not responding is that the canceled will say omit, and the declining and not responding will not have that part in the subject. So that's a pretty easy tell as to which one is supposed to be of which way. So moving on to the interview process, we just want to remind you of how the reintegration interview introduction is supposed to be read. So there seems to be some confusion with this. The first paragraph of the introduction starts by saying, "We want to tell you again how much we really appreciate your decision to participate in this project. By now, your family has participated in multiple interviews, and we thank you." There then is a sentence that has a D in front of it, and it says, "Today's interview has to do with reintegration or reunion." And then there's another part that says R1, and a sentence that says, "And we want to recognize that the service member has recently returned and your family is once again reunited. Congratulations to all of you." So the D part of this, which mentioned that it had to do with reintegration and reunion, should be read if the service member deployed. Both the D and the R1 sentences should be read if the service member deployed and it's an R1 interview. So if the service member did deploy but it's an R2 or R3, you will only read the D sentence. And if the service member did not deploy, you will not read either of these sentences, regardless of what interview number it is.
There's a section regarding parent and child disagreements in all of the interviews that should be read in full. There's a question that asks, for example, it says chores, that's bolded, and then it says in italics next to it, problems about household chores such as keeping his or her room clean, doing the dishes, shoveling snow, or setting the table. Both the bolded and the italicized sections should be read. Please just remember to read the entire question unless otherwise noted by Skip Logic.
So Skip Logic was added to the family functioning section of the adult reintegration separated instrument. So Skip Logic now reads, "If the participant indicates living alone, mark not applicable for all answers in this section," which are questions 488 through 507, and the interview is now complete. So please just review this before going on a separated reintegration interview. And also note that if you're using an old copy of a spare interview, the Skip Logic will not be present. So it might be helpful to go back and write that in just in case you use that version.
When it comes to the fit adaptation, there's one with the cup stacking activity. It has been sent out and you should receive it within the next week. A copy of the adaptation was also attached to the email, so you can look at that for reference.
Included in the package with the fit adaptation, you'll also be receiving the spare updated consent and assent forms that we discussed earlier. So you'll now have a copy of those as backups in case they're somehow missing from the box.
When it comes to spare interviews, we hope to be sending you out spare copies of interviews within the next few weeks. They'll contain changes such as adding glossary indications to words, Skip Logic for family functioning section discussed above, and a small indication on the front of separated instruments so as to eliminate the confusion. Those are just a few of the changes that we've made.
So our poll for this month, we have made a Qualtrics survey. So it's a survey that you'll be taking online. We would like everybody to go in and fill that out. So the link is on the supervision agenda. So if you just click on that, it should take you to the site and give you the prompts and questions that we would like to hear back from you on.
And finally, the family quote of the month. It says, "The interviewers are very nice and professional, and they treat myself and my family with the utmost respect. I am happy and like what you guys are doing."
So thanks for watching October Supervision. We look forward to hearing from some of you on the calls happening next week.